Alright everybody, just so you know, I am here. Not gonna be here long. I actually have I'll be like in and out. I've got food that needs to go in the oven. It is not there yet. I'm waiting for the oven to heat up. Let me get the chat up and going and make sure everything's running like it's supposed to. So I'm going to write my usual I am here, send it off, and make sure it shows up. And it does. Yay! Alright, so I'm going to go and run on over into the kitchen and make sure I get this food in the oven. At some point I will need to get the food out of the oven, and when I do, I'm going to have a video that's a few minutes long to put on my be back soon screen. So just so you know, in the meantime, we've got this 5-minute timer going. It's at 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Once that is up, I will go ahead and get started. And I'm not late this time. I don't have any birthdays going on this week. I don't even have school to bring my kid back and forth from, at least not today, because my kid's speech class ended last week. So that was the last day that I have to be gone on a Tuesday. I do still need to be gone on Mondays and Wednesdays to bring them to and from 2 other classes, but that class is done, so that's good. It makes me happy. It gives me a little bit of extra time. Oh yeah, so the videos that I am going to play, they are actually from Prime, and for some reason, I can play and record the Prime videos on my laptop, but I cannot record them on my main computer. It's more advanced, but for some reason it won't do it. I know there was a trick I had to use to get my laptop to record, and I did that, and I tried it on here, but on here it doesn't work, so I have to go and see if I can find some other way to fix that. But right now I cannot record anything from Prime except for their commercials on my computer, so I have to go to the laptop, do it there, save it to thumb drive, and then bring it back over to my computer. So I will be playing 2 of those videos off of the recording that I made, since I couldn't play it here. Just to let everybody know. It's kind of weird. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of security feature that that Prime puts in, or some of the users on Prime, I don't know, to make it so that you can't just like record and share stuff or something like that, but it works on my laptop. I had to change the format setting, the Windows format setting, when I was recording it, but that doesn't work on my computer. So anyway, just rambling because I ain't got nothing better to do. Actually, it's got 30 seconds. Let me go run in the kitchen, see how the timer is going, how the heating up the oven is going. Is all set up. Food is in the oven. good, and my recording is going, my video is going, because sometimes my webcam will like shut off or it'll just stop working, so then I have to deactivate it and reactivate it. And it's done that a couple times since I started playing with this today, so I was a little worried it would do it again. But it seems to be okay. All right, so basic format or timeline, whatever you want to call it, for the live stream today. We're going to start with a brief rundown after this timeline. We're going to have a brief rundown of the previous episode. I will play 2 very short trailers, and let's see. And then I'm going to talk about kind of the main parts of what was going on in the last episode. Then we will play one of the first videos that I recorded on my laptop, because like I said, for some reason I can record the Prime stuff on my laptop, but I cannot do it on my main computer. Don't know why. I'll have to look into that. I know at one time I had the same problem with my laptop. I was able to find a fix for that, but that same fix does not work on my computer. So I have to find out if there is some other fix. Lost my chain of thought. So we'll go ahead and watch the first video that I recorded, which I think was, what was it called? Cooking lessons? Probably spun off from that last episode, because what was his name? Stan Edgar was giving a cooking lesson. They were asking him to answer questions, and he starts out giving them a cooking lesson instead of answering their questions. After we're done with that video, we'll come back to here, to this scene, and no, I already said we would talk about what's going on in the show. The last episode, episode 6. And then once we're done with that, I will probably play the next one. Usually I would use the next one as a be right back video, but it looks like the food that I'm cooking is going to take an hour, and I don't expect to be on here for an hour. If it is an hour, then I'll go ahead and put it on while I go and check on the food and get the food out. But if not, that will just be the next thing that I do, is go ahead and put the second video on, which is an inside look at the characters. For some reason, it had 2 different labels. Like on my computer, when I looked at Prime and looked at the video, it said inside characters. But when I went to collect it off of my laptop, it had a different label. It did have inside characters, but it had like all this other stuff with it. So anyway, we'll play that. And then after that video's over, we're going to go over my VIP of the episode, piece of shit of the episode, favorite scene, least favorite scene. And I think we're going to go over a character that I think is worthy for redemption. All right, so let's go ahead and get this party started. Okay, so so overall, the main point of the last episode was escaping from the facility, figuring out next steps. What's going to happen? Where are we going to go? Like, some of them were like, yeah, we're going to go to Canada. And Annabeth is like, I am not going to Canada. No, like I need to go back to my regular life. And they're like, well, you can't go back to your regular life. You're going to put everybody in danger, including yourself and your loved ones. But she's like, no, I am not going to Canada. So yeah, so they had to figure out what's going to happen. Where are they going to go? They ended up in a school, which for a little bit there, I thought maybe it was the school that Marie was in for a while when she was like orphaned. But it doesn't sound like that because she didn't seem to know where certain things are and stuff like that, that she probably would have known if that was the school that she had been in. So I don't know if it is some school that we are supposed to recognize from somewhere, or if it's just some random school that they just happen to stop upon. But yeah, they end up in a school, and then eventually they end up with Stan Edgar, I think is his name was, who was kind of in charge of Vought and is no longer. All right, so that's the bulk of the episode. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put on a couple very, very short trailers. So, get that there. Go to my trailer scene. All right. So, Season 2, Episode 7, new trailer.
If we can get to Godolkin, he can take down Cypher.
Godolkin might be even more dangerous.
I don't think we have a choice. I am the only one who can stop Cypher.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like they're putting a lot of putting a lot of weight on Marie's shoulder. They want her saving everybody. They want her destroying Homelander, destroying Cypher, or she wants to destroy Cypher. Like, I'm thinking this is gonna like pile up after a while. It's gonna be a bit much. It would be a bit much for anybody. But yeah, it's like, okay, we got right now, Kate wants her to save her. Polarity wants her. They might be able to save Polarity. Some people were saying that Cypher might want her to save Dr. Godolkin, like fix them, heal them, that kind of thing. So that's a lot. Plus, kill Cypher or destroy Cypher, kill or destroy Homelander. It's a lot. Anyway, let's go to the next teaser. Trailer, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. What is the difference between a teaser and a trailer? Is it this one or this one? Let me see. They both say Prime Video, but I know one of them is the correct. I think it was this one.
You need to see something special.
Or we watch some advertisements.
I'm here to be reunited with the love of my life.
You may kiss the skin.
We're all on the same side here. This is bigger than us. I need your help.
3, 2, let's go.
Project Odessa.
Okay. Let me go back to my live screen. Okay, so it looked like there was a lot of stuff from the previous episodes, but, you know, a little bit to kind of warm you up for this coming up episode. And that's one thing I didn't put in my layout. Like, I keep not really thinking very much about what are our guesses for what's gonna happen for the next episode. But I do know that the review I did see when I watched the last episode at the end, the review I saw for the coming episode showed Marie and Kate both heading out. I think they went to Polarity to try to get help. So, So that's what we know so far of what should be happening on the next episode. This one that comes out tonight, tomorrow morning, whatever you want to call it, is Marie and Kate head out and they try to get help from Polarity. I don't know how far they're going to get. I think they are also supposed to learn a little bit more about Odessa and focus more on trying to figure out how to get rid of Cypher or how to do something about Cypher. Because what do you do about him? And then there's the whole morality issue of if Cypher is actually just being puppeted by Godolkin, is it Godolkin that we need to take out? Do we need to have some sympathy and empathy for Cypher? And sympathy and empathy are two different things. Empathizing with somebody is kind of like attempting to put yourself in their shoes, relate to them in some way, think what that might be like for you. And you can't always empathize with everything because sometimes you have no way to relate to their situation. But sometimes there are small things that you might be able to figure out a way to at least relate a little bit to their situation. So that's empathy. Sympathy is like where you have emotions and feelings about something that are sad or negative or grieving or, things like that because of their plight. So that's not putting yourself in their position. That's not trying to figure out what would I do in their situation. That is, I feel bad for you, or I feel something for the situation that you're in. Not necessarily, I can relate to you in any way. Anyway, I got a little off track there. So yeah, I guess for right now, that's enough for talking about what might happen on episode 7. If I think of more, I will talk about it later. But let's get down to kind of what happened on this last episode. So one of the main things which I noticed on the preview the episode before, the preview for episode 6, and during episode 6, that Annabeth is able to sense things. And as we're going through the episode, we get the term precog, that Kate says she's a precog because she's able to sense these things. And Annabeth says that she doesn't understand her power very well. She doesn't have good control over it, and she tried to hide it for a long time. She does not want anything to do with her powers. She does not want them. So she doesn't have control over them. She doesn't understand how they work exactly. She doesn't understand exactly what they do, but she is able to get a sense of certain things before they happen. Let's see. The other thing that we have, like right from the get-go in this episode, is Annabeth and Marie are not on speaking terms. Annabeth has very bad opinions about Marie and very bad memories because of what she went through after Marie accidentally killed her parents. She doesn't know the whole story, so she doesn't understand, like, she may understand that it's not Marie's fault, but there's not enough of the background there to like really be a little bit more sympathetic, a little more understanding that her sister was not in a position that she could do anything about, that what happened with her parents were not at all Marie's fault. And she makes a comment at one point that everything bad that has happened to her has happened because of Marie, and that Marie is the danger. And I really do feel like a lot of that is not knowing and not understanding the depth and reality of the position that Marie was in, and the reality that Marie had no real control over what was happening. And she had no knowledge that she had powers any more than Annabeth had knowledge, because that was another thing Annabeth said, was that she didn't know that she had powers. She didn't know when she got the powers, because any opportunity to find out went away when her parents got killed. So it sounds like she did not know she had powers even before her parents were killed. And if she did, I wonder if she had powers from the beginning, was she one of those children from that experiment and people just didn't know? Because Stan Edgar made the comment that Marie was considered a failure because they thought she had no powers. Is it possible that her sister was another one of those babies? Pam thought she was a true miracle, but she was actually one of these in vitro babies that actually survived and she had no power either? Or was it something else? Was she given V at a different point? Anything's possible. I don't know. But I'm assuming we will find out later. Okay. Another issue that we have over and over again is Jordan dealing with their feelings. How they're feeling about the whole Marie situation. The changes that Marie and them are experiencing, what that means for them and their future and their current position. And Jordan keeps bringing up that things are completely changed. They're completely different. And Marie keeps, Marie's in denial. Marie is like, no, nothing's changed. At least we haven't changed. But I would disagree with that. Things have changed. You have changed. At least your understanding of the situation has changed. And their understanding of the situation has changed. And in order to survive in a relationship like that, I think Marie is going to have to come to terms with the reality that everything has changed, including their relationship. And if their relationship is to move forward, they're going to have to try to figure out how they move forward with those changes. How those changes are going to affect their relationship in the future and what to do about that. Like, that's part of communication, and it's part of the reason that so many people have problems with communication in their relationships, is because sometimes things like this happen and people are in denial. They're not willing to admit the things that are really happening that they don't want to admit, and therefore they can never get to a point in their relationship where they can even talk about those realities, where they can figure out those realities and where they can figure out how they're going to proceed with those realities, among many other things. There's many other issues that people have in general with not communicating well with their partners, which can cause a lot of rifts. And I hope that Jordan and Marie both get to a place where they can acknowledge these changes both, and they can both work to move forward with the changes and figure out what they're going to do with the fact that these things have changed. But anyway, there is a part on the episode after they end up in Stan Edgar's bunker that they're talking about Marie's powers and Marie's situation in relation to Homelander, because we find out that Homelander is the only other child supposedly that survived from the Odessa project. And so then some were making the comment that, oh, you're like Homelander, you're the same as Homelander, which I'm like, no, the fact that they both lived doesn't mean that they're the same. And then somebody else said that they were cousins, and I was like, it doesn't even mean they're cousins. It depends on who the carrier was for the in vitro fertilization, and who the biological parents were for the in vitro fertilization. Like, that would be the determining factor to whether they're actually some family relation or biological relation or anything like that. And they don't actually talk about that. They don't talk about who the parents are of these in vitro kids. So we don't know that. And they don't, and I highly doubt that Homelander had the same surrogate as Marie. But either way, different people. And then Stan even eventually says that no, they're not the same. Fucking Homelander is fucking sociopathic. And if you were anything like Homelander, I wouldn't even allow you in my home. So, and I think that's where Marie was trying to get to. Like, no, I'm nothing like him. I am not a monster. Even if Marie and Homelander have any of the same genetics or parentage or anything like that, they are not alike. They are very different. All right. Okay, so now another issue in this episode was the fact that both Stan Edgar and Cypher want Marie. And so there's this fight to get Marie. And we don't even know about Stan Edgar until Stan Edgar finds them, and they end up going with him. He is the safest bet at this point. Cypher, the whole time, is as soon as he finds out that they've escaped, he wants Marie back. He doesn't give a shit about the rest of them. And Stan's pretty much in the same boat, but Stan's not quite as much of a monster. He's not quite as careless about the whole thing, so he's not threatening to kill them. But he does make it pretty clear that Marie is the one with the power, and Marie is the one that he is interested in, and he doesn't really think that these other soups have enough power that he's even concerned about it, and he doesn't care that much. But he does at least invite them into his home and lets them in because that was part of the package deal for Marie. Cypher, on the other hand, is like, no, man, bring Marie back, but any of the rest of them, I do not give two shits. Fucking kill them. Get rid of them. I don't care. And I do think next episode, that is one of the main things we're going to see is this fight on both sides, on Stan's side and on Cypher's side, to get Marie back, to get Marie in their corner, doing what they want for them. Okay, so I've talked about Stan Edgar several times now. So this is the point that we actually meet Stan Edgar. Fucking Viking had caught them when they were in that school, held up in the school, trying to get some food, changing their clothes, trying to make a call to get help, that kind of stuff. And somehow Viking found them and was attacking them, trying to get Marie back to Cypher. And Stan said that Viking had a tracking chip. and he was really dumb and made a lot of mistakes, and he's very clumsy, and so that it was very easy for them to track him and find him, and therefore find Marie and Marie's classmates. And we also meet Victoria Newman's daughter. Now, I missed whether her daughter's name was Victoria Newman also, or she had some other name, because when they were talking, when they were introducing, it was like they said this was Victoria Newman's daughter or something like that. But it sounded like they were saying, it was Stan said, you met Victoria Newman, and this is her daughter, something like that. But I couldn't tell from what was said whether that was actually her name or she had some other name, and I don't remember if they said her name again in the episode. It's possible. I don't always catch everything. So it's possible that they actually said her name if it was something other than Victoria Newman. But we met her. She has a very interesting soup capability of ejecting, it looked like snakes out of her mouth, which is how they got rid of Viking. Her little snakes came out of there, ate his face up, and cut it off. Like, I would say it cut his head off, but it was like it cut this whole, ripped this whole section off. It was disturbing. That sounded like my chats thing, but I do not see any other chats coming in. Let me real quick check my live stream. I don't see any new chats on there. So, maybe no, maybe no. Let me refresh it and see. No. Okay. All right. So, anyway, that was our introduction to this family. We find out that Stan Edgar is her grandfather, that Victoria Newman, I'm assuming, is his daughter. Seriously, Craig? I am on live stream. But anyway, we've got this whole family. Unfortunately, Victoria Newman died, so she's no longer in the picture. But mom, dad, granddaughter. I thought it was kind of cool. I did not know anything about these people being family members, so that was interesting. Okay. That was, sorry about that. I did not know my husband was going to come in there and do that. Okay. All right, let's talk about Sam a little bit. So, Sam does seem to be doing much better. He's talked to his parents. He says that he's gotten on meds and gotten his meds right. He has apologized and given a genuine apology, but he also seems to think that they're going to, yes, he said at some point, try to start again. And I just don't think that you can start out that way. Like, what he did was really jacked up. No matter whether he was having his mind washed by Kate or not, what he did was really messed up, and it really hurt Emma. And the idea that you're gonna try to get your relationship back in order and try again, I don't think either of them should be in that place. So to me, I was like, you maybe opt to try to be friends. Try to rebuild your friendship. And then if at some point after you have built your friendship back up and built your trust back up, and you're in that kind of position that both of you might feel okay with that, then maybe entertain the idea of possibly trying again with a romantic relationship. But until that happens, I wouldn't even be entertaining it. But I get it. Sam's a different kind of person. And Sam's not the one that went through what he put Emma through. So he's not going to be thinking of it the same way. But yeah, I just don't see that as an option. So yeah, he suggested that, and I think Emma made it pretty clear, like, this isn't something that we should be talking about right now. I'm not here. I'm not there. I mean, I would have had a lot more choice words to say to him, but maybe she feels like she already said that and doesn't want to, like, keep dragging the issue, but still. All right. Now, after they all end up going down to Stan's bunker, they want him to answer questions. This is like a main thing. They want him to answer, like, what the fuck's going on? What's with Odessa? Like, you need to answer questions. And his attempt to answer questions, he starts with a cooking lesson. And rather than answering any of their questions, he's just giving them information about cooking. And then Kate makes some comment about this is what, like, the Vought playbook. Give you the cooking lesson, make you start to trust them and feel comfortable with them. That way they can get you to do what they want you to do. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds pretty much like what's going on. He does eventually start answering their questions, though, but it was a while. It was a while before he really started answering the questions. Like, what is Odessa? Answering stuff about Godolkin and Cypher. And I think through the question and answering session about Godolkin and Cypher and all of that, they started to figure out that maybe the burnt up man in the hyperbaric chamber is Godolkin, that he is not Cypher's dad, and that maybe the things that Stan thought about Cypher, that Cypher rebuilt Godolkin's technology and all of that from the ground up or whatever after Godolkin was burnt up, that maybe that's not true. That maybe he is being meat puppeted. At least it sounded like that's what he was figuring. So they were able to figure out that might be what's happening. That it might be that Cypher is not actually the one that's doing it, that it's being done through him or something like that. Although it sounded like Stan was saying Cypher was doing it through Godolkin rather than Godolkin controlling Cypher. So I don't know. Maybe Stan knows more about Cypher's powers before that whole event happened, in a way to know what's going on with that relationship between Cypher and Godolkin. But I don't know. It's possible. Okay. And after they are in Stan's place and they settle down for the night or whatever, I think Marie and Annabeth had already had a couple conversations, and Marie is feeling, I think by the end of the night, Marie is feeling very sad that her sister does not understand the situation, that her sister feels she's danger to them, and so she ends up leaving, just walking out. Kate follows. Kate's got the idea that maybe Marie can help heal me. And I saw it in her face when they were talking about the possibility of Marie helping other people. That Kate thought, like you could see it in her face, that she thought Marie might be able to help fix me. And that's what she said. That's kind of what she indicated when she went out to follow Marie out of Stan's bunker, is that you might be able to fix me. That we can work together. And I can help you to keep Cypher out of your head if you fix my powers. But I don't know. Like, it looked like Marie was like, nah, and just took off. But Kate went after her, and the previews do show her, Kate, and Marie both working together and getting to polarity and trying to help each other out. So maybe she is okay, and she just didn't like vocally communicate that. But Kate went along anyway. What was the other thing? Oh yeah. So polarity. How far do I want to go with this? Polarity is basically stuck there with fucking Cypher. Cypher ends up meat puppeting him to do a phone call with Harper, I think, and find out what's going on, so to speak, or where they're at. And Cypher keeps doing fucked up shit. Like I think it was earlier in the episode when Cypher found out that they had escaped and Marie was gone. He starts like beating Godolkin, which made me think, does he sometimes have control? Is that him like slapping Godolkin because he's like breaking through for a little bit and beating the shit out of Godolkin because he has power every now and then? Or is it that Godolkin is meat puppeting him to do that out of like self-hatred because he didn't succeed, because his plan didn't succeed and he considered himself a failure? I could see either way, but yeah. And then later on when he's got polarity, he's like using his power to get polarity to slap himself in the face. Crazy ass shit. But it is GenV. It's going to be crazy. All right. So let's do one of these videos. I'm going to start the video. I will go in the kitchen and check and see how much time my food has left. Like I said, it's supposed to be an hour, so it might be just fine. I may be able to get through this. I don't think I'm going to get through the whole thing before the food is done, but I can go check on it while this one is going. So let's go ahead and get this started. Need to turn that on. All right, I have the opacity down so you can't, so you can see through it, but it should be up enough where you can see what is playing.
Oh god, not this shit again. Ready? And action.
And I haven't watched this, so I'm listening to this part.
It's bigger than season 1.
It's mind-blowing, the artistry that stunt team brings to the choreography.
Okay, I'm back. Food has 21 minutes left.
For the cause.
That was fucking great. That was awesome.
This season, we brought John Koyama, the stunt coordinator on The Boys, over to GenV. The fights have leveled up because he's not just a stunt coordinator, he's a storyteller.
So, like, that.
Exactly.
Like that. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Thanks, John.
This is the seminar room in which Cypher brings the students to test them.
What makes us so special?
Why don't you tell me?
This is basically in the fifth Harry Potter when you realize how fucked up Umbridge is when she does the little torture thing. That's what this scene is where we're like, oh shit, this scene is fucked up.
Good morning, bitches. Who's ready to deep throat my hammer?
What the actual fuck?
These seminars, they're life and death. You're only going to get better if you can survive.
3, 2, 1, go! We upped the ante quite a bit as far as action. It's our mission to actually raise the bar.
It's one of the most incredible.
Okay, I have some thoughts on this. I'll talk a little bit after this is
having
over.
that many people in the room, that many wire pulls, but still telling the story and still justifying.
Thoughts on Viking,
amazing.
Specifically.
Fuck yeah. My favorite thing about the sequence was Tate, because he was having so much fun.
This is the most fun, violent, graphic, vulgar, and hilarious show that I've ever been able to be a part of. Run along with me. Things are about to get
Just stumbled upon your
like the
stream while
boys,
looking
it's
for the
delightfully
release
fun.
time. I hope you have a great watch. You seem so likable.
Audiences definitely
Thank
have
you,
a lot to
La.
look forward to.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Same time
I'll
next
address
week.
that chat message when I get back to the next stream. All right. Okay. Gonna turn that off. Gonna go. Oh, not that. This. All right. Okay, so I got another chat message. I'm assuming this name is Ula or Ola, but I don't know for sure. And it says, I just stumbled upon your stream while looking for the release time. I hope you have a great watch. You seem so likable. And as for the release time, I am Eastern time in Florida, and I believe it starts at like 3 a.m. here. I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're in another country or if you're on the other side of the country or this side of the country or in the middle or what. But I know 2 references, my side of the country, 3 a.m. My parents' side over in Washington, California, that side of the USA, was it Atlantic? Atlantic time zone, I think. Or is it Pacific? Pacific. The Northwest. The Northwest of the United States. It is midnight, I believe. So midnight if you're on the west coast of the United States. 3 a.m. if you're on the east coast of the United States, and somewhere in the middle if you're in the middle of the United States. And if you are outside of the United States, you'll have to figure it out from there, because I do not know the differences of time zones in the other countries. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so what I was thinking on that last video with Viking, when he was in that fight with all the kids on episode 6, he was like beating the crap out of Sam, which I was just like, I don't fucking think so. Like, from what I remember on his fight that he had, yeah, he was fucking kids up and everything, but both Jordan and Marie had a fighting chance with him. They were doing some major damage. He was doing major damage to them, but they were doing major damage to him also. And I don't buy for a second that Sam would be like fucking thrown around like a little paper doll like Viking was doing in the last episode. But that's how they were showing it. So I was like, this just seems not correct to me. I did not agree with that at all. Okay, so now that's done. Okay, now we're going to talk about VIP of the episode, piece of shit of the episode, whatever you want to call it, like the person that I don't like, favorite scene, least favorite scene. All right, I got my notes, so let's go by the notes. VIP, the Newman girl. Like, she was very, very sweet. She does seem to be, what is the word for it? Maybe a little detached or something. So, like, all this fucked up shit is happening and she's showing no emotion at all except for smile. Like, she's, like, totally fine with everything. She's freaking covered in blood and just all smiles. And I've seen that from people, from certain people, only certain types of people. Some people that are neurodivergent that are like autistic, but then there's some people that are like, they're just very bubbly and they don't seem to pay attention to when bad shit is going on. They see everything in a positive light. That's a little bit different than some autistic people, not all autistic people, but some autistic people. They may not sense things like that the same way that everybody else does. And so therefore, sometimes really messed up stuff can happen and they may not react to it. Or they may react in a very different way than most people would think is appropriate. My brother is autistic. And so I'm just going to give an example of this event that happened. This terrible thing that happened with my brother when I was a teenager. We lived in the country, and there was a busted, what was it called? A busted root beer mug in the backyard, below the porch. He had jumped off the porch, landed on this busted up root beer mug, and it sliced his foot. It sliced his foot like all the way, like almost in half. It was basically hanging by the skin. That was all that was still attached. All the way through the bones and everything. Pretend this is your foot and this is the arch. The mug went right through here. And he comes in the house. He's bleeding all over. He is not crying or screaming or anything. And he shows me his foot. And he's laughing and says, "Look, Venus." And it's like, I'm freaking out. But he's laughing. And there's been multiple times that he was in situations like that where he was hurt badly and he would laugh about it. That was a very messed up situation. I ended up calling my mom. My mom called 911 and got somebody over there. But yeah, I was freaking out. I didn't put a tourniquet on him, but I tried to cover the wound with a towel, get it in place and covered it with a towel. Did not tourniquet it, but they were able when the when the ambulance got there, they were able to get him over to the hospital, get that foot reattached, get it all sewed up, and it still worked. Like, it was a long time. He was in the hospital for a long time after that, but he was able to stand up and walk around after going through therapy and stuff, which is good, because if a limb or part of a limb is detached from your body for too long, it really reduces the likeliness that it's going to be able to work. Hey, I'm seeing a bunch of... It's so weird. Okay, why am I... Okay, I see more chats. Let me refresh this on here so I can see the chats better. Too long? It really reduced... Okay. All right, it's like it's repeating the chat. So that's all it is. It's the same two chat messages. That is very weird. Oh my goodness. I think it's because when I set up my chat box, when I finally got it working, I realized that some of my screens the chats were not showing up. So I went through every single chat box and I set it so that it would like recycle the chats every time I opened the screen. It's weird that it's taking this long, but I think that's what's going on, is that it's just recycling through them. So it's the same two chat messages, mine and Ula's. I thought maybe I got another one. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have lost track, but I did say that my VIP is the Newman girl. And yeah, like she was so sweet. She was a little disconnected. I was talking about the autism thing because my brother had that situation with his foot. But I think I got all of that done and out of the way, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. Okay, piece of shit of the episode. I wouldn't usually do this, but I gave it to Marie. With the caveat, I gave it to Marie because she freaking eloped from Stan's place and left everybody there, including Jordan, including her sister. I get that she was upset. I get that her sister probably made her feel like she was an awful person or something like that, and that she didn't have a reason to stay there. But the fact that she just left, and she left Jordan there and everything, after she had already like done something similar when she left Elmira, that really bothered me. But I will leave the caveat that maybe I will be okay with what she did if it is what I'm thinking that she did. That she is going for help and that she plans to come back for everybody. If that's the case, then I'm okay with it. But the last we saw her, she was leaving. She wasn't bringing anyone with her. The only reason Kate was with her is because Kate actually caught her and talked to her and just followed her out. But she didn't seem to be including anybody else. So that really made me upset after the whole thing with her leaving all of them in Elmira and not coming back for them. And now it's like the same thing again. Hopefully she'll come back for them though, and I won't feel so bad. But yeah, for me, piece of shit of the episode, Marie. I was just like, nope, this is terrible. You already did this, and you made everybody feel bad. Like, you put them through a lot, and after everything was said and done, it seemed like they had made it clear, like, that you were important to them, and that it was really messed up that you left. So leaving like that really bothered me. Okay, so next. Favorite scene. Favorite scene was when Polarity was being meat puppeted by Cypher. Yeah, by Cypher. I keep thinking Cyrus, but no, it's Cypher. When Polarity was being meat puppeted by Cypher, and all of a sudden, Cypher's like, what's going on? What's going on? And it turned out it was Polarity. Because at first when I saw him doing that, I thought maybe the same thing was going on with him that happened when he was meat puppeting Jordan. But then you look and there is Polarity, and you can see Polarity is trying to fight him off. So that was my favorite scene, Polarity fighting him off. And then he like pushes him out the window. That was great. That was great stuff. Loved that scene. Definitely enjoyed that. All right. Worst scene. Worst scene. Cypher telling his plan for culling the herd. He's like, I am going to cull these schools. Godolkin has shown to be a school of mediocrity or something like that. And I'm going to cull the herd. I'm going to remove 75% of the student population, starting with Godolkin. Like, that was really fucking fucked up. Definitely worst favorite scene. I was not happy. Not impressed either. Seriously, what the hell? This is where we're going. Anyway, let's see. Okay, redemption character. I am fully on board at this point with Kate getting a real redemption arc. I think it's time. I think with some fucking genuine real help and proper people on her side, and her not just fucking doing whatever the authorities tell her to do, that she could make a real turnaround and not just these superficial turnarounds that she's had. I think she could be good, but the question is, can she get to the point where she is no longer doing everything the authorities tell her whenever things get tough, whenever they threaten her, whenever they take power from her, or whenever they basically enslave her or anything like that? If she can get to that point where she can overcome doing everything for them as soon as shit gets really fucking hard, then I will be okay with a redemption arc for her, with a real redemption arc. Okay, I think that is all. I did the cooking lesson, so that's... Nope, that was not the... Okay, so I think I have one more. Let me go to my back soon screen. I would put this on trailers, but I have to have a completely different screen capture for this because it's not on the same thing. It's not on my web browser. It's on VLC. So I need to have a separate screen capture for it. And rather than put it on my trailer screen or trailer scene, I go ahead and put it on my back soon screen. Now, where is this? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, it's on pause. Let me go ahead and... Oh, no. Stop.
Going from season 1 to season 2, we discussed.
Not pausing. Okay, there. It's paused. Let me turn this on. Alright. Now I'm going to start this. It is called Inside Characters or something like that. Anyway. And I will be listening in. My food should be done soon, so I'll be listening in for that.
Going from season 1 to season 2, we discussed how we could just make it much more challenging for our characters.
These kids are finding that the world that they're being thrust into is really dangerous. Superheroes are in control, so are you going to take the easier route and go with the flow, or are you really going to stand up and fight?
My favorite scene was probably the arena fight.
It was, I think, maybe the only time that I never had to act. I just walked out and felt that.
We have like 650 background actors. They are committed to the bit. And so like 650 people are like screaming and yelling like crazy. It made that scene so electric. Do something! Get off!
It was also oddly emotional. There was a big vulnerable aspect of what's actually happening. And the whole concept of being puppeted by someone is horrifying.
Give us a wave.
It was such a beautiful moment of like, I'm not gonna let the person that I love suffer. The juxtaposition of that intimacy in such a wild and rabid environment was really cool.
The fans want Jordan and Marie to be endgame, 100%.
After the first season of Gen V, Sam and Kate become like celebrities. We're seemingly on top of the world. I don't know if we really are or not.
I'm a real Sam head. I love Sam's story. It's a Hulk-esque story. Someone who's broken by their trauma and doesn't know if they can put themselves back together.
Sorry about that.
Okay, you guys, I'll be right back.
He is negotiating a lot about himself and about who he is. You were supposed to protect me! Getting to go back and explore that familial relationship was really clarifying. It felt like a very nice moment for Sam. It's not your fault, Mom.
What's going on?
I got you out. Kate is always trying to do the right thing, but it has been taking a toll on her because everybody has a different idea of what the best thing to do is. And so there's just simply no winning.
You're the reason this happened.
All I want is for us all to be safe. That's all I've ever wanted.
She's too powerful, and her motives are weird. I don't trust her.
She'll just sell us out again.
Which is 100% what she do. Fuck her forever. Emma's mindset is, Kate's the worst human being ever, and how do we forgive the people who wronged us the most? Firm as a bitch.
All right,
These kids don't see
I'm back.
themselves as villains. They see themselves
Food is
as heroes.
out of the oven,
They
at
think all
least.
the dark shit they're doing is for the greater good.
They grabbed you too?
Actually, this is your rescue.
When Jordan, Marie, and Emma come to rescue Kate from Elmira, I loved shooting that scene because there is this feeling of, oh my God, you care about me enough to do this, and the whole time she's so badly wanted that.
I can't believe that after everything you would do that for me.
Sir, I'm Emma Meyer.
I know who you are. When Emma comes to see Polarity's in a headspace in that scene where he's really not even sure if he wants to live. But Emma gives him a reason to soldier on and feel some sense of purpose.
Maybe I didn't know Andre for that long, but I do know he wouldn't have given up. It's just so funny, our dynamic, because Emma's just like a wild card and just says all the wrong things at the wrong time, and he's so stoic. Have you ever noticed how incredible ants are? The scenes that Emma got to share with Polarity, Chance and I were supposed to do. Chance to me was like my best friend. Like, he really was my hero in my life and such a guiding light.
So this season, we are dedicating to our friend Chance, and I think about him all the time.
We thought the best way to honor Chance was to not try to replace him and not try to brush it under the rug, but actually lean into the grief we were feeling and just make it part of the story so that they didn't have to pretend to be anything but how they were genuinely feeling.
We were all in the same headspace when it came to what happened to Chance. I'm so grateful that I had a chance to meet just a remarkable, brilliant young man. I'm proud of you.
He kind of glowed. He had a way about him that was very full of life and love.
When someone that special is taken away from you, you're reminded of how important it is to hold the people that you love close. I will carry him with me forever.
He was a soul that was too big for his body. He is so missed by so many people, and I hope that we did a good job of honoring him. Fuck, I miss him. Me too.
Oh, that was beautiful. All right. Yeah, I do like how they have approached the reality that Chance died and what they did with the season to commemorate him and everything, because a lot of shows, they do stuff like that. They'll brush it under the rug, or they'll make it funky, and this was nice. The fact that they did make it in his memory, and they allowed it to be a scenario where the actors have to act out grief, and so they can actually do some of the grieving themselves that they're actually feeling. So that, I think that was nice. I like that. And I am looking forward to see more of this, what's going on with what I assume is Andre's spirit or something like that. That's what I'm assuming. That's what I'm hoping for. And I hope to see more of what was going on with that, to see if maybe Andre's trying to reach from the great beyond or something like that. Anyway, that is all I've got for you this week. I will see you next week. I am sorry that last week was so short. Like I said, it was my husband's birthday. I did the episode a day late because it was his birthday, and by the time I did it, like Mondays and Wednesdays, my kid has classes in the morning and in the evening, so I only have a certain amount of time in the middle of the day to do live streams or anything like that. So I had to like kind of merge it into this little bit of time that I had right before I needed to take my kid to their evening class. So yeah, it was short. I had to like really rush through it. Sorry about that, but this one's an hour and 11 minutes, an hour and 11 and a half minutes. So, and that's all I got for you. I will see you later. My husband's bringing in my food. It's chicken parmesan. All right. I'll see you later. Let me turn off my light.